Raise a cult and we're closed.
Wait! I'm calling about Egon Spangler.
Egon Spangler can rot in hell.
He died last week.
Oh, man.
Egon Spangler was my grandfather.
Time's up. Hey, hello?
Somewhat jaded now. It's time for me to strike again. I'm coming back for you, my friend, tonight. It's
Hey there, flat tops. Have you missed us? You missed us. I had to do it. Welcome back to the channel, everyone, for our final Ghostbusters review before the release of Frozen Empire next week. We are almost there, people. I can smell it. I can taste it. It's almost in the palm of my hand. It's on the tip of my tongue. We are almost there. Who's excited?
I cannot wait. I am like...
But yep. But oh man, do we have a lot to unwrap today? Like holy
We do
shit.
a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, I am joined by my usual suspects, Dylan and Rob, the right dude, and John will be our buddy John, the Geek Informant, will be on soon. Austin, however, could not make this one because he's busy with his classes and stuff, but he did write a review on Letterboxd. So after we all give our thoughts, I will read out his review so that way he still gets a special mention. So, yep, bam. Let's just get right into it. Ghostbusters Afterlife, man. Now, this is more or less like just mainly a question for Rob because he's like the biggest Ghostbusters fan here.
Mm-hmm.
Because now just give us what your mindset was after the 2016 film. Did you have any hope that they would that this franchise could ever come back like with a direct sequel or anything, or did you think?
Honest, I'll say this. Like after the disaster,
The fact that doesn't exist, right?
Okay. Anyway, I was gonna say after the disaster was that thing that we shall not talk about. I mean, I think all of us pretty much had little faith in, like, we kept thinking there was no hope for a good Ghostbusters movie, like, and then something happened.
Yeah.
Jason Reitman, the son of Ivan Reitman, who directed the other two movies, came up and he gave us a proper sequel to Ghostbusters 2. Yep. And it's a good reboot. So he did a really good job. Like, honestly, that was the only thing that was Afterlife was the only when it comes to any kind of faith I would have had for that movie, the only thing that gave me a little bit of hope was Jason Reitman. And the fact that it's going to be canon to the original movies and all kind of thing. So, yeah,
like, because keep in mind at the time, because I've always said, like, I've never been like a Ghostbusters fanatic. Like, I've always liked Ghostbusters, but I gotta agree after seeing that 2016 film. While there are things I like about it, and we will talk about that. That's a story for another stream. But there were things I liked about, but overall it missed the mark. You know, it didn't understand Ghostbusters. So yeah, I was pretty much in the same boat. Like, I thought the franchise was dead.
And the fact that Sony pretty much honestly, I think even Sony didn't have any faith in that because it's like after everybody was shitting on the trailer for the 2016 one, it's like, oh, anyone who hates it is so sexist. It hates women. Blah, 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 blah. It's acting so
Yeah. Oh
childish
my
kind of
God.
thing.
Star Wars basically just take right after that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's and then I mean it's yeah. But it's just it's not and it's even though the majority of us agreed just that the jokes were not funny and it wasn't going to be canon to the original.
Yeah. So who would have thought that the franchise could not only come back, but it fucking comes back?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
We're
It was
just
honest.
gonna get
Yeah.
we're just gonna
I
get
was-
right into it because
Yeah.
oh sorry.
No, yeah, you go on. You go on.
Yeah, we're just gonna get right into it. Like, oh fucking Christ, where do we start with this movie? You know what?
Oh my God. It's such a good film.
I think this is gonna be much like the original film, where like I think we have nothing but positives to talk about because, like, any little nitpicks I feel like I might have are probably irrelevant.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Ghostbusters Afterlife. I think a lot of the best elements about the film are not only the story with how different it is compared to the original films, but just how it captures the tone and vibe of a classic Amblin release. You know, this feels like something that would have come out in like say early 80s or 90s.
Yeah.
And I'll even say it even feels kind of Spielberg-ish.
Yeah.
But I mean that the best way. I kind of get vibes of Close Encounters out of it, and
Yeah.
obviously the obvious encounters like Stranger Things and
Yeah.
other ones. People have made all those jokes.
It also keeps the same energy as the other films, which is great.
Mhm.
The first two films has that same energy.
Does.
Yeah, and like, oh, and by the way, this is full spoilers just right off the bat because the film's been out for a few years now, so we can just
Spoiler-free review. It's an awesome movie. Go see it.
Yep.
Now go watch it if you haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
to say it is the
absolutely.
best
Great
film-
film.
To say it is the best film since the original, that speaks for itself.
Pretty much.
And
It's
plus-
probably my easily favorite film of the franchise.
Oh, mine too. Like, but I would say it in a way that how I would compare Halloween 2018 to the original Halloween. Like the original Ghostbusters is still the best one with its structure, its legacy, everything that went into it. But Afterlife is my favorite film of the series because it has the most emotional story.
Yes,
And I think another great element about it is just it's a film about family legacies. You know, that discovering that their father, that their relative, grandfather was Egon Spengler, and that's another thing. I'm gonna say this right off the bat, and I don't know what y'all gonna think, but I think this film is the best that Egon has ever been. Like,
yes,
I don't know
they
if
really
there's-
respected the character and the
Yeah.
man himself. Which
Because I know you're probably thinking I'm crazy for saying that because what about all the other films where he was still alive, all the iconic lines and moments he has? He's dead in this one, but it's because of how they use him. Because of how he's there in spirit with how he's assisting Phoebe in those little scenes.
Yeah.
Rebuilding the proton packs.
And they it's strange because they really captured his attitude within the light. Like I could actually see him pulling that stuff out. Like the way he would drag stuff around. They really captured his personality almost. It's weird. It's hard to say.
So in a way, it's like I really do genuinely think this is the best Egon's character has ever been. Ironically, because
being respectful. What a thought!
Exactly.
And announcing a remake of his most popular work like a week after his death.
Exactly.
Yeah, like fuck that movie. But we'll get to that.
We'll
get to that.
Remake? There's no remake.
What are you talking about, John?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about.
It doesn't exist. Nope, doesn't exist.
John, I'm pretty sure
There is
you
no
have,
remake in Boston.
John, I'm pretty sure you have the Mandela effect.
Yep.
Where that a movie exists
Exactly.
and actuality doesn't.
But just to kind of start it off at the beginning for like context, like so Egon is dead. It's been like what 30 years now, and it seems like he completely abandoned the Ghostbusters. And what I like about that is the mystery. Like, did he go nuts, or was there actually a reason for what he did? I mean, the answer's pretty obvious because it's Egon. But I
Right from the
love
beginning of the film, you see that.
because what I love about this is that it does a lot of the things that some other legacy sequels have done with their classic characters, where they're sad, miserable, washed up and all that. And the way that certain people talk about Egon is, that creepy old dirt farmer, he was an asshole. That, like, just when it's starting to feel like, they're going to be disrespecting Egon, going that same route. It's the core idea of why he left everything behind, what he sacrificed is what makes it so respectful. He gave up everything. His friends, his family, his relationships, and ultimately his life, to let everyone know, spoiler alert, Gozer's trying to come back and take over the world again. And it's just I think one of the best scenes in the movie, as far as acting, is when she's on the phone call with Ray. And it's like immediately, when he's like, Egon Spangler can rot in hell. And when she tells him that, that Egon died, it's like,
dude, remember me?
like right when he said, the dude can rot in hell, you can feel, like, just in his expressions, you can tell that there's a genuine feeling of remorse and regret over hearing that news. And and he doesn't have to say anything. It's all in the body language, and it's one of my favorite moments of acting in the entire franchise.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's just like
dude, when that came out, oh my god!
It's just like
I saw that scene.
It's so funny seeing so many different franchises. I'm gonna go a little off topic, but it's just so funny to see so many franchises that like don't respect anybody, that hate the franchise they're writing for, they hate the characters they're writing for, and then they're shocked it fails. It's like, oh wow, these movies that respect what these characters were, Afterlife, Top Gun Maverick, maybe the first Halloween, but like at least there's some sort of respect there.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh wait, and then it's like people wonder, oh, why did Kill the Justice League fail? Why did Rings of Power fail? Why is inevitably Fallout gonna fail? Why did Halo fail? Because you're bringing on writers who hate the franchise they're writing for. Why? I don't get it. Like, why are you continually biting the hand that feeds you? Because you know what will happen? Fans are really, they have a lot of ingenuity. You know what they'll do? Go somewhere else where they feel respected. I know, that's crazy. That's why there's like this mass exodus of Western media to Eastern media.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people are sick of this Western bullshit idea. Meanwhile, the Japanese keep cranking out great film and show after great film and show. And so people are going to go over there. Why? Because it's good. And they don't try to fucking do anything else. They just want to make a good story.
Exactly.
I know. Crazy, right?
I know, right?
Absolutely insane, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
And
that's crazy talk. What are you talking about?
And then it's just, oh man, like kind of going back to what I said earlier about how this film is different compared to the other films, is that it's refreshing, because it was always in New York. It's always in New York. There was nothing wrong with that, especially with the first two films, but it was bold. Because normally when it's the first film in your reboot series where you're bringing it back, that's normally the fully familiar one, but they took a risk here with the premise and the setting and the location. We've never seen anything like this in Ghostbusters before. but I respect that.
Ghost.
And me and
Yeah.
Dylan were talking about this the night that I was showing him the film. It's like my comparison to this is, and I'm pretty sure y'all would. I don't know if y'all would agree with me or not, but here's my comparison. I know it's always Star Wars that we go back to when we compare legacy sequels. But here's the thing. This one movie alone got right all the things the entire sequel trilogy combined tried and failed to do mostly.
Can I say this, man? Can I say this? 3 films!
I got
Three films!
Yeah, so
It
what
got wrong.
Afterlife was able to do so well with one movie compared to 3 is that it has the safe, familiar ideas of Force Awakens and the fan service, but it's done well. It has the bold approach with the new setting and new plot, bold like Last Jedi was, and it has all the references and the fan service like Rise of Skywalker. But the great thing about the fan service is that it all comes across as so loving and genuine. None of the callbacks feel all cringy or does it like, see, we can do Ghostbusters. See. Yeah, are you happy now? No, it just it comes across so organically. Like one of my favorite ones, even if it's cheesy and the punchline is obvious, like when they're in jail, it's like, don't I get a phone call? Yeah, sure. Who are you gonna call? Like it's so obvious, but that's one of the best parts of the movie to me. It's like, I see what you did there. It's obvious, but I love that.
Yeah, it's just like because it's like compared to like, you know, in this other universe that I took a peek into because from I don't know if you guys know, I have these multiversal powers, and apparently they made this remake. This Ghostbusters remake in another universe.
I think I heard about this. Yeah, everyone has this weird dream of it, dude.
Yeah,
I know,
and
right?
then there was this really bad scene where it's like they go out of their way to say, "Oh, I ain't afraid of no ghosts,"
I ain't afraid of no
comes
ghosts.
off as really cringy. But
Exactly.
here it's done like relatively well, and I think there is a bit of risk there, like taking it out of New York. But the thing is, I think I do see what a lot of people like. Kind of don't like about the movie is that similar to Force Awakens, they do play it a little bit too safe. Like, oh, the villain is Gozer. Oh, you're bringing back Zool and Vince Corso, and all that other stuff.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up, John, because my older brother, even though he liked this movie, Afterlife, even though he liked it, he said the biggest thing is the fact that it rehashes so many moments from the original.
That's the one thing.
Yeah.
That was the one thing I like. But the thing is, I think Frozen Empire has even more, what's the right word? Like they have more. There's more writing on it because Afterlife, it did have a lot, but the thing is, it rehashed a lot of stuff, did all this other stuff, and Frozen Empire brings it back to New York. They're doing an all new villain, an all new type of villain, and it's not just like Gozer again. It's not, it's not Vigo the Carpathian. It's not him again. It's like totally new. Like with the death chill and I forget what the name of the character is, but so that I think there's more writing on it because it's like so Afterlife worked. I think that was kind of lightning in a bottle a little bit, but at the same time, with Frozen Empire, now yes, we have Afterlife that worked, but it had a lot of the old references and stuff from the first film. There's even more writing on this one because it's totally new ground. It's total new ground. So it's like this could definitely fail, and it shows, Ghostbusters, it can't do risks. The only thing we can do is just rehash the same old stories over and over again.
I was going to bring something up. I get the idea of like trying to rehash it, but at the same time, This is trying to get they're trying to get back the fans of Ghostbusters. So I feel like Afterlife they had to do familiar territory kind of thing. They had to try to win back the fans, trying to get newcomers in. They had to bring back. They had to rehash
even
some
then
things
with
because if they tried taking risk and all, then it would have been way too risky, you know.
Yeah, and like even with the familiar plot, I feel like they still are able to.
Yeah, they did
embrace
enough
our
different to justify it. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Oh,
not
yeah.
just different, but they were still even with Gozer back again. I still feel like they were able to, in a lot of fresh ways, keep expanding and evolving the Ghostbusters lore. It wasn't just simply doing Gozer and the Gatekeeper again. We were learning some new things in this movies, and that's what
Yeah.
I really appreciate.
I like how they had J.K. Simmons, like, oh, you have this really big actor, and then he dies like 5 minutes later. I
I
thought
know.
that was really funny. I thought, in a weird sort of way, Olivia Wilde was perfectly cast as the new like Gozer, I guess, because she like has the body and face for it. So I thought that was pretty good. I mean, and it's also like practical, like it was a practical for the most part. Like obviously when it was running around the Vince Clortho like dog form,
Yeah.
it obviously when it was running around it was CG, but like when it's for the most part, like a lot of the up close and personal shots, those were like practical, and they looked so fucking good.
They did.
That
I thought the
looked
effect was
really,
I thought
really
the
good.
effect was flawless. Like both with the
It
Exactly.
CG
really
and
looked like older movies.
They look
Yeah,
Fantastic,
it's
man.
like
Exactly.
it's like the Jurassic Park thing. It's like, yeah, CG is fine, and CG is good, especially if you're like really going for like big alien world, then that's fine. But it's like sometimes you just need to like the practical thing. Like sometimes actors can do so much. Like sure, they can like be imaginative and all that, but at the same time, they need something to work off of because then the performance will be even better. Because Dave Bautista was talking about this when he was working on Dune. When he was like talking about Dune, he was like, yeah, it was really great, like having like actual sets to stand on and then have actual things to work off of and not just like talk to a tennis ball. So, you know, it like actually like having those and that works.
exactly.
Furthering my point that Eben Moss Backrack is a fucking moron. But that's a whole nother discussion
Oh
for
yeah.
another day.
And then there's not even let's talk about the new characters for a sec, because that was another kind of risk that this movie really took, was because even if they're connected to one of the original Ghostbusters, this is a new set of characters we're dealing with, so it's whole new territory. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but I think the best character, and she stole the show in this movie, McKenna Grace, as
Yeah.
Phoebe. She is the best character this franchise has had.
It's fantastic.
Well, obviously since all the original characters, like she is such a great character. What I loved about her character was she has this vibe about her where she's kind of introverted, closed in, but they don't make her all, oh, no one understands me, don't talk to me, or that kind of
Exactly.
thing. Like, 'cause that's something I was worried about. Like when she first meets podcast in the film, I thought she was gonna be like, she's gonna give off this vibe where she's like, why are you talking to me? That whole phase. Like,
yeah,
like,
I like how they didn't do that. It just shows McKenna Grace is definitely one of the most
Yeah.
talented child actors,
Exactly.
period.
Absolutely.
Although she's kind of gonna age out of the child actor thing soon because I think she's a like late teenager. But she was just so talented as a I mean she's still talented, but like I'm just saying, like child actors, it's yeah, we did get like sort of that influx of great characters like Stranger Things, although speaking of with Finn Wolfhard. But I think she is immeasurably talented. Like she can
Sorry,
definitely
crashed.
no problem. She definitely can hold her own against like these older actors, and she did such a magnificent job. And I will say, I gotta give so much fucking credit to Logan Kim and the writing. I fully when podcast came up, I'm like, oh, this kid is gonna be fucking annoying. He's gonna be the ungodly annoying comic relief that we all just want to see a bullet in the head by the end of the movie, and then like immediately like he won me over. Like he was so
I know, right?
like,
Yeah.
That's why I was.
like,
That's why I was
just,
gonna.
like, yeah, like he's so like nerdy, but he's like so like funny and just charming, and he's just like this like really like bright-eyed kid. He's like, I love doing what I do, and I don't care. Like it was like so nice. It like, and it was kind of like that dichotomy of the two of those characters and why it worked so well, because they both have that core of like, I love what I do, I like what I I like what I do, I like who I am, I like being into the things I like, while McKenna Grace, Phoebe is more introverted. Logan Kim doesn't care what anyone thinks, is more extroverted. And I really think that's what made that friendship work so well. And the chemistry between those characters work so well is because of that like dichotomy of like introverted versus extroverted. I thought they did that really well. And I got to give so much credit because it's like I fully expected to hate this character, yet he was so awesome. I love that moment towards the end of the movie where Ray was like, "Hang on, you're this kid. You're the kid." He's like, "Wait, you're my one subscriber?" yeah. And then
that was great.
That was funny.
Same thing he said earlier on in the movie where he's like, it hit the stride at episode 47. So like, it was just
dude, that's just,
it was so great. It was
that was funny. Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, John. It's like I was going to think that I was thinking that that podcast was going to be annoying, but he was hilarious.
Oh yeah,
and it's because
he was fucking adorable. I love that kid.
Yeah, because like a lot of his humor kept true to the spirit of tried and true Ghostbusters humor.
It did.
You have the running gags that Ghostbusters always has, but they don't overdo them, and that's what made him so funny. Was that any of the running jokes he kept going with, they didn't do too much of it, and it was actually funny.
Yeah. If they kept the flavor of the original show. Going back to Phoebe, though, and I'm sorry to go back, but there was something that I really wanted to point out about Phoebe's character. Okay, I'm sorry to compare it to Star Wars again, but I have to. I don't want to get too far into this, but let's realize one of the biggest problems with Rey. I'm sorry, but not in the first one. But because of the second movie, they basically made her a Mary Sue. And then not in the movie itself, but in the outside world, everyone basically says, well, the only thing cool about her is she's a girl, like she's got that girl power, stuff like that. Dude, I just love the fact that Phoebe is a female character, and no one is saying she's a great female character. People are saying she's a great character because that's what's important. Right? That's what's important.
A great character. She's a great character, period.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I really like that about her. And she wasn't Mary Sue. Yes, she did. Yes, she was able to do a couple things more. But it's because of her grandfather, because of all that. It's there for her. But, she still fails in a couple times in the movie. She is not Mary. Unlike if you compare her to Rey. God!
As you mentioned, Dylan, that's the thing. It's because of Egon. It was like kind of has like, I know that there's like some like theory on like if intelligence is genetic. So that definitely borrows that idea here. Yeah. So the thing is, she's not, the most special, super duper amazing girl ever. They didn't do that. But even if the things she can do, they have a proper explanation as to why. So it's like, okay, she's just like Egon, so because that she has that similar personality and possibly some inheritance of intelligence from Egon, she got interested in all the things he got interested and learned about it. She read books, she read on the internet, she got all these hobbies.
Exactly.
So she learned how to do those things.
Ray come
and not,
from? Ray learned
be
nothing.
Palpatine's granddaughter. I mean, what?
Exactly. Dude, Ray basically what I'm saying is what Phoebe is what I wanted Rey to be. You know what I'm saying?
And then that also goes into the relationship she has with her mother. And like it could have been so easy to her to come off as unlikable, because of how cynical and jaded she is about Egon. But not only do they write it in a way to where you could understand why she's all pissed about it, because at that point in the movie, it's written towards like we don't know why Egon did what he did. So as far as she knows, it's like that he's just some
Crackpot.
just some jackass who didn't even give a shit. So, but they properly develop her character, and it's properly paced out to like as the movie goes on, she's discovering little things about this house, and then eventually she finds a lab at the end. It's like, and it all fits. It's all properly earned. And then at the end, the moment that she has.
Oh my god. That last hug at the end, bro.
That last hug.
Yeah. Like
that's basically what should happen in Star Wars, I swear.
Yeah, dude. Oh yeah, now let's get into that awesome freaking third act, which is my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah.
And it's not for the reasons you think. It's not just because the Bill Murray and everyone finally show up.
By the way, I wanna add to that. I remember seeing this movie in theaters, and when Bill Murray, Ernie Hudson, and Dan Aykroyd all showed up in their suits, everybody was just clapping and cheering.
Yeah.
So it's
even I was getting hyped up because keep in mind like at this point, because as I've been saying, I've always liked Ghostbusters a lot, but I've never been like a fanatic, like a fan,
Same.
like a hard fan. But even then, it's because I was getting so engrossed in this movie, and I think the reason why it got me so hyped at the end is because they were doing these new characters so well. So it's like this movie could have just been about them, but then just the fact that they add in that extra little bit that they do come in at the end, it's like, oh fuck yeah,
dude! It's the exact same for me. Like, I wish I went to the theater to saw this. I never even saw it. I thought I saw this movie, but turns out I actually didn't. And dude, when when you showed me this film, how just engrossed into the film I was. And my favorite part of the movie is that scene where Phoebe first finds out. She says earlier in the movie, "I don't believe in ghosts," but she then starts believing in ghosts, and she first finds out that her grandfather is helping her. I love that scene.
Yeah.
Like, it's so casual too. It's like they don't give her this moment like she's like, shit. Like, she just casually just goes along with it, and it's like, I was like, oh yeah, here, what's this part that I need? And he shows her like, oh, thank you. It's like, and that was great humor. But again, going into this awesome fucking and here's the thing, like I said, this, and it is my favorite part of the movie, but not for the reason you think. It is not because Bill Murray and them all finally showed up. What I loved so much about the third act was that, like, I hate to take it back to Star Wars, but like, we know everything that the sequel trilogy fucked up, so we don't need to go into that again.
Yep.
What I loved so much about it is that it got right every single thing. It gave us everything we wanted to see. Like, we wanted to see Luke and Leia all together. We wanted to see them properly team up with the new characters against the villains, and this movie gives us that. And
it doesn't overshine the new characters either. Like, Star Wars was so worried that the old characters would overshine the new ones, so they gave them.
Yeah.
And granted, they have much of a role in this film, but when they show up, they do not overshow the characters.
Yeah, mainly because what helped was that they built up the new characters. We barely saw the old characters. Like, we saw Rey on the phone call, and then later on we see, the three of them show up.
And then we saw Janine at the beginning.
Right. Well, I mean, like, well,
Yeah,
that was like a
good.
small, like, cold open almost. So,
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I mainly talk about like the main plot because the thing is, what made it work is the fact that like they built up the characters throughout the first, second, and some of the third act to the point we actually give a shit about them. And so when the old Ghostbusters show up, it's more like icing on the cake or
Yeah.
cherry on top of a sundae, where it's like, oh, that just adds to the already greatness of these characters because they finally interact with them. Not like, oh, we finally get to see Ernie Hudson, Bill Murray, and Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah.
You know? So what I and another problem that Force Awakens had is that we never really got that proper build up with those characters because we kind of got that first act a little bit and with Rey, and then like within like at the end of the first act, beginning of the second, we immediately get Han Solo. And so it's like, okay, now I immediately don't care about Rey. Oh, because Han Solo, he's right there. So what they should have done is they should have built up those characters even more and wait until maybe like the third act or something like that, or even the next movie, like properly build up the new characters. Because at least with like Afterlife, you can have the excuse of like, well, we don't know if we're going to get a sequel. With Star Wars, if you're getting a sequel trilogy, it's a trilogy. So obviously you have 3 movies. So we could possibly wait to get those characters and have, you know, Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, and Leia all show up in the next movie once we care
Or
about those
just
new
show up at the
characters.
end of this first film.
Or
That'd be way better.
either or. But you
And
need to properly build up those new characters. Because if you don't, then we don't care. Then we don't care, and then all we're looking for is the old characters because that's what we're familiar with. And that's the problem.
Exactly.
With what the Star Wars trilogy is like we immediately got that satisfaction, which is good in the short term, not good in the long term. So, because then at that point, we didn't care about Rey. They completely butt fucked John Boyega's character with what he should have been. And I will say, Oscar Isaac was like fine. He was probably good, but that's just the power of Oscar Isaac. The dude was a actual like talent at that point. He wasn't an unknown like John Boyega and Daisy Ridley. He was actually known, and the dude is so effortlessly talented that he can make anything work. So that was that. So
and what's so great about them?
33% of your characters that are good. Like, come on.
Yeah.
And what's so great about them showing up at the end is like it's not just a fan service. Like it actually serves the plot. Like they're there to avenge their friend. I mean, they're obviously there to help Phoebe and all them, but they're there to avenge Egon. Like Gozer killed their best friend. They realized he was right all along. So they're there. They're gonna avenge Egon. I loved that. Like even if it's not stated with dialogue, you get why, and it's because they had that scene with Rey earlier to set that up.
Exactly.
Like obviously,
exactly.
Because the college
and you can make this
like,
comparison
again,
too.
And like the expression on his face, like he realizes what's going on. It's like, holy shit, Egon may have been right all along. So it's like, I got to get the guys together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you can.
No, you can.
Oh, okay. And you can also make this comparison too. I mean, Egon left his whole family and everything behind, but why did he do that? The answer being is what we get in this movie. However, Star Wars, what is the reason Luke Skywalker gives up on everything? Oh yeah, that's right. He wants to go and die.
Yeah, that kind of comes down to Star Wars a bit though, but it kind of goes back to what I said about Egon earlier. Like, ironically, without him actually being there physically and having no lines of dialogue, I genuinely think this is the best that Egon has ever been. Because again, he gave up everything with no thought of his own. Because like all he cared about was saving everyone he loves. And that's a great character. Because like, and it's so in character for Egon. Even if it seemed and that's what's great about it, because it's kind of making it look like that's something he wouldn't do at first, but then as you see the way the film is building up to, it's like, oh, he was doing this for a reason. They were doing something with Egon, and it mattered. And it's like, even if it wasn't like intentional on the writer's part, it now like makes Egon the most heroic of the Ghostbusters.
It really does.
Yeah, it really does.
So yeah, like I felt like, and I also felt like this was kind of an apology from Bill Murray because they had that huge falling out on the set of Groundhog Day.
Yeah, he did.
So they finally managed to make amends prior to, you know, Harold Ramis passing away. So I felt like that this was like his own like weird way, like an apology towards his friend that like he unfortunately like couldn't like
make amends
with for the longest time, because that was the real reason why the original version of Ghostbusters 3 never got off their own, because Bill Murray refused to do it because he felt betrayed by Harold Ramis on the set of Groundhog Day. So so I feel like this was partially like an apology for him, which also definitely helped in the long run in terms of these characters coming back and like having it be all about Egon and all that. So I felt like that helped majorly.
And that's just what makes it my favorite film in the series, because who would have thought something like Ghostbusters, known primarily for its comedy, could also genuinely come off as like this sort of drama, really, about family legacies and have all this emotional weight to it. And it's,
exactly.
And it's just what I love is that because the OGs show up, right, and again, like I think I'm gonna try not to compare it to Star Wars at around every bend, but
it's hard not to though. It really is.
Because like how to put this, like because again, we know what the Star Wars sequel fucked up, so we don't have to go into it, but because like the fact that we didn't get to see them all together, like actually to get on screen together, actually, and like a proper team,
or the fact that Luke and Anakin did show up and help Rey,
and it's like, and it's the small little details in Afterlife, like where like when Phoebe starts fighting Gozer, and then the OGs turn up and start fighting back again, and like even if I know it's not actually Harold Ramis, but that you get that one shot of all four together, it's like there you go. Like even if they're not
so
even
great.
if they're not making this to say this is what Star Wars should have been, this is what Star Wars should have been.
It should, yeah. And I think it's even better that this is not made to make what Star Wars should have been. Yeah.
And it's so emotional because I don't know about you guys, because again, even like as a casual fan, is like I was tearing up at the end of this in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
Then again, I don't think any showing of this movie in theaters had like a sort of dry ice at the end. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But then the last thing we'll go into before we get into Austin's review of it is because when we saw the little credit scenes for the movie, did it leave you thinking like you actually want to see where this could go, or were you more cautious thinking no, let's just end it here because they can mess it up again?
I mean,
the thing is, there is the worry of like I had a feeling that like, okay, this is gonna make money, this is gonna be good, so they're probably gonna make a sequel. Yeah. So I would have been happy if they didn't. I would have been happy if they did. So I think it worked.
I'm in agreement because I'm in agreement that I mean honestly, this honestly could be considered a satisfying conclusion of the series. So that and it was pretty much. But we know we all knew that it was going to make a lot of money and it was going to get a sequel.
I think this is the highest grossing film of the series, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I'll say this as long as Jason Reitman is still attached to this. I know he's not directing Frozen Empire. I know that, but he's still like involved.
So, that was my compromise with making a sequel. So long as it's Jason Reitman either directing or at least being like a writer or producer or something,
Yeah.
a lot of the same crew and all that. As long as you have those ingredients, yeah, make a sequel. Because
And I
if
and I
Jason's
think
on
that
board, then it's going to be good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But I can honestly, and I could see this being pretty much Jason Wright. Like this is not only like a good send off to Harold Ramis, but I feel like that this is a kind of a good send off to Ivan Reitman. I mean, I know he was still alive when this
Yeah.
came out, but it's like
And that's so hard for
Yeah.
he actually, because I don't know when he died actually, but the fact that he got to
I think he
see,
died last year. I think.
yeah, the fact
Yeah.
that he got to actually see this, not only the production all the way through, but the fact he actually got to see the final product,
Hmm.
that's just no doubt that no doubt that like behind the scenes somewhere he's like, yo, Jason,
Yeah.
I'm proud of you, boy.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
Yeah.
Um, by the way,
I have a strong feeling that this will be dedicated to Ivan Reitman. I
that's
feel
what
like that they're
It is going to
probably
be yeah. Frozen
like
Empire, they've already confirmed it's going to be dedicated to Ivan.
yeah. Well, I mean, like I feel like there might be some themes intrinsic to it, like similar to the way Afterlife was. Maybe not as much because he was the director and not an actual character, but I
Mhm.
feel like there might be something there in terms of like maybe like another fatherly figure, maybe continuing the themes of fatherhood and what
Yeah.
that means, and maybe like that sort of thing. Maybe there is something like maybe the old Ghostbusters will be like um be very like they'll be like an allegory for Ivan Reitman, and then the new Ghostbusters will be like an allegory for Jason Reitman, and like they'll have like a proper passing of the baton. I think that could be done very well. If they do in fact do that, I don't know if they will, but if they do, I think that could be done rather well.
Well, if they do the whole father thing like Geek Informant says, I mean, we don't know Phoebe's dad, so
yeah.
And some themes that Dan Aykroyd has actually said they're going to be exploring in Frozen Empire is that it's going to be exploring things of like loss and regret and what
Yeah.
was it?
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that,
Let's see what. Yeah, Dan Aykroyd says Ghostbusters Frozen Empire confronts themes of loss, betrayal, and forgiveness.
yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
that's gonna be really interesting to see
My
what
theory
that's
is that he's like we saw little nuggets in the third act of like how the OGs all kind of felt regret over just not believing Egon. But I feel like this film, now that they're actually going to be in the movie more, I feel like this film is going to be more fully about that, like
probably
more like
that'd be cool.
deeper seated regrets that they feel about not reaching out to Egon sooner and things like that.
Yeah.
Maybe that awakens the great big bad horny itself. It is the whole thing of regret.
Yeah. But
Awesome.
yeah,
I don't
like
know. Just
one last
Congrats,
thing
Master
before
House,
we
guys.
one last thing before we all give our wrap ups and grades to it is that because Austinator was not able to be on the stream with us, he did leave a review for us to mention on his letterbox, and I will read that out for him so
Okay.
that he can get a mention. Austin's review: 4.5 stars. Thank God they resurrected this franchise with grace rather than the rumored 2016 reboot. Ghostbusters Afterlife, I saw with my dad in theaters, and will go see Frozen Empire with him as well. And I honestly loved this film when it first came out, and I still do. Quick recap of my thoughts of the original two films, since I haven't reviewed them from Letterboxd. The first one was a great comedy with a great ensemble cast and fun moments. The second one, while not perfect, is still a fun time. And apparently there's a 2016 reboot, which thankfully was never made. But even so, I still went in skeptical since this was the first Ghostbusters film in so long, and I worried this film would just be nostalgia bait. Thankfully, I was wrong, And while it was nostalgic, they did it in a great way. This film did the legacy characters so well, and they had a lot of great moments. Seeing Egon done justice with great CGI was great, and it made me tear up a bit. R.I.P. Harold Ramis. The new characters are great with some great moments blended together with some solid comedic moments. The effects are pretty good with some fun Easter eggs sprinkled in here and there. Overall, while this film isn't perfect, it's a still legacy sequel done right, and I can't recommend it enough. He gave it 4.5 stars.
Out of 5.
Yep,
So that would be a 9 out of 10.
yep. Which, speaking of which, that's actually what I gave it in a way. So my final thoughts. Yep, this is because you know me. I love the new trilogy of Halloween sequels that came out. Like, so in a way, while I'm still partial to those movies, I really think this might possibly be the greatest legacy sequel ever made. Just in the ways that it very deeply respects what came before, while still having the balls to still introduce some new ideas and keep evolving the lore and the legacy. And it was that perfect mix. Some great new characters, and a very satisfying, albeit small, use of the original characters. It just makes for just the best Ghostbusters film since the original, possibly better. And again, just the way that it honors not only the franchise, but the way that it honors the memory of Harold Ramis will leave even the most casual of Ghostbusters fans, albeit the least bit misty-eyed. So at the end, I'm going to give it an A+ and a 9.7 out of 10. Your guys' final thoughts?
Okay. I mean, yeah, this is. I agree. I would say this is the best This is definitely the best Ghostbusters movie we had since the original. I know that's. Even though I enjoy Ghostbusters 2, I will say that this, like I said, this is the best that we got since the original. I still remember seeing it in theaters. In fact, I saw it like a week ago with my fiance and my stepson. Which, by the way, that was Kane's first Ghostbusters movie. Was Afterlife. So, like, I think he told me that like he saw his dad took him to see that in theaters. Took Afterlife. But anyway, but yeah, I still think it holds up. It's like the characters are great. I love the comedic moments. And I mean, it's great to see it. Like Austin said, this is nostalgia in a good way. So, this movie just does get keep getting better. I probably would give it like 9 or a 9.5 out of 10. So I'd have to, yeah.
John?
But yeah, I think this movie pretty much does everything right. The characters were well done. The story was great. The effects were phenomenal. It manages to hit every note it should have. Would I have liked a little more risk? Yes, but I understand where they were coming from in terms of this. To be fair, I said the same thing about Force Awakens, and look what happened with that. But even then, I still think it worked a lot better here. And I'd probably give it a 9.5 out of 10. 9.5, probably 9.5. Because again, the only thing it really does wrong is like a little bit too safe.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still such a great movie.
Yeah, that's why I gave it like a 9.5, because I felt like it was going into too familiar territory. But I get that they were supposed to do that. Went back to fans.
Yeah, it definitely did a lot right, and I think that's what we need to focus on is like how much right it did, you know. So I liked how they did that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Dylan.
All right, so much like Zach Gaudiella over here, I was always a fan of Ghostbusters, but I wasn't like hardcore at all. And I would say like as much as I do like the first Ghostbusters, even I don't praise the first Ghostbusters as the greatest thing to ever come out. And I'm someone who really likes story-driven movies, and as much as the first Ghostbuster is fantastic, this is more of a story-driven movie. This is way more up my alley. And this is not a rating I give very easily. This is a rating that I give only to the films that are 100% my type of film. I'm giving this a 10 out of 10.
Nice.
Phenomenal film.
So fucking good.
And the only, like, Return of the Jedi is like the only other film that I can think of right now that I give a 10 out of 10 because I love Return of the Jedi. Like, that shows you how great this film is. It's as good as Return of the Jedi.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our review series of the Ghostbusters franchise. All three of them. 3.
Wait a minute.
Just
What
three.
about? No, I was gonna say, what about the real Ghostbusters, Extreme Ghostbusters, and the video game?
Oh yeah. Like
Very
the video games does serve as what would have been a third movie, and I will say that I haven't watched any more episodes since I last talked about it, but I do think that the real Ghostbusters is okay. You know, it's very freak of the week, formulaic, episodic kind of thing, but it's enjoyable. The only thing I don't like though is, like I said, I don't like how they pretty much make Slimer the cartoonish head of the group.
Yeah,
By
gotcha.
the way, they give him a cousin in this movie, and Muncher is awesome.
But I mean, that's
Muncher's
pretty much
great.
all we got. But that's pretty much all we got in terms of we got the 3 movies, we got the 2 cartoon series, and we got the video game.
Yeah, and it's funny how
Yeah.
nothing else happened ever since then.
Yep, nothing.
And I am intrigued to check out the Extreme Ghostbusters because I have a feeling I'd like that cartoon more because I have a feeling there's gonna be more of an actual overarching story over the 2 seasons. Not gonna be so episodic.
It's Ghostbusters diversity done right.
Like, is it more of a overarching story, or is it kind of episodic like the first cartoon was?
I mean, I haven't seen it in so long. It's been a long time since I've watched it. I think it's pretty much like I think it might be like its own kind of thing and all. I mean, but then again, I mean, like I said, I haven't seen. It's been years since I've seen it.
Yeah, but I am intrigued to check it out. But in the meantime, like, this is it, people. Frozen Empire is next week, and I've got my ticket for Friday, the 22nd at 12:30. And damn it, if y'all haven't gotten your tickets,
Whoa. Freeze. Stop scrolling. Get tickets to Ghostbusters Frozen Empire today.
What are you afraid of?
Last minute plans that nobody warned me about until the last minute. That's what I'm afraid of. And on top of that, hopefully you don't get copyright claimed for that stolen content, Zach.
But I don't have my ticket yet. But I'm planning to go see it with my brother, with my fiance, and then I guess depending on and then possibly my stepson. But it all depends on everything because he's grounded right now. So
Yeah.
but
Me and my uncle actually are going to go see it, so we're both super excited for it.
oh, you're gonna go see it? Awesome. So
Well,
you'll be making
my
your,
We go see it in a certain way.
yeah.
okay.
I'm just gonna say that and not
Yeah, I
say
get
what
that,
it is.
Karen. Like, while we're not like, it's not like blind faith in Frozen Empire, because maybe they could screw it up, but I think we're all pretty much agreed is that, yeah, we pretty much have all the faith in the world that in this movie. So, and plus, a lot of the early reactions from the world premiere last night are almost unanimously positive. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Mhm.
In the meantime, though, Yep, that's pretty much all there is. That is our review of Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Mhm.
Before we end it, though, I'm going to let John and Rob plug what our next Cool Kids review is on our channel.
Kung Fu Panda 4 tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow night we will be
That's
doing
gonna
a
be
review of Kung Fu
interesting.
We will be doing a review of Kung Fu Panda 4, and it's going to be hosted by John.
Because I'm the only person that it was excited for this movie. Well, until Zach saw it and said it was really good. But outside of that, yeah. I was
Yeah.
like the only
I
person.
saw
I'm
it.
like,
It
I
was
really
really
want to
good.
see this. And everyone's like, well, sure, I guess.
Yeah.
And John, this will be the first time that you've ever hosted a review for an animated film.
Animated films are art, no matter
Exactly.
what Jimmy
Yes.
Kimmel says.
Animation.
I was gonna
is
say Jimmy
cinema.
Kimmel can go suck a dick.
Yep. So that is our plans for our channel there. And then obviously you can find me here where we will be reviewing Ghostbusters Frozen Empire next week. Dylan, where can they find you?
Guys, you can find me on Dylan's Little Hobbies, but I really don't post on there anymore. You guys can really find me on the LJ Universe, where I'm posting little videos about my characters, about a novel I'm actually writing on Royal Road, Wattpad, and Script. Go check out Reaper's Blood and the LJ Universe. That's my book.
Nice. And that is it for our stream today. Join us next week for our review of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Do not miss it. We will see you next week. Later, guys. And always remember, if someone asks you if you are a god, you say yes. Bye, guys.